Hi guys, it's currently Wednesday, February 8th, and it's been around a week since Chain of Thorns came out, and I finally have it in my hands. Like, it's here, I'm holding it, and that's just so surreal to me because I've been waiting 2 years for this book to come out, and it's just unbelievable that it's like here. And that sounds dramatic, I know, but it's like exactly how I feel. Like, I still can't process the fact that I can actually read it now. It's crazy. Now, you might be wondering, what took you so long? Like, what's been going on? Why do you have it a week later? It's because last week, I actually bought it last week on Friday. I went to Target with my friends and I was like, it's here, I need to buy it. I bought it, except I forgot it with one of my friends, and then he had to give it back to me this week. Except, it's hard to remember to bring like a book to school, so he forgot on Monday and Tuesday, and then finally today he got it and it's here, and I like literally cannot stop smiling. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be reading this. It's like, and look at that. Look at that. Look at James Herondale. Like, can you see this, guys? Like, look at that. Oh my god. And it has like artwork on the inside, and it's so gorgeous. I was looking through it and it's so pretty. Like, oh my god. I can't wait to read it. I'm so excited. I was thinking of doing a vlog because I thought it'd be like really fun, because it's literally the finale to like my favorite series of all time, I think, at this point. So I think I should do a reading vlog, and I think that'd be really fun. I don't know when I'm gonna start it because school has been pretty crazy and I really want to like sit down and like genuinely like absorb it. So don't know when that'll be, but hopefully very soon, and I will vlog it when I do start reading it. And I just wanted to update my reaction when I got it, because I didn't get to like completely show my full scope of emotions when I was in school, because that would have been like very embarrassing to like start sobbing in the middle of school. So okay guys, it's finally time to read Chain of Thorns. It's currently March 2nd, and I got this book like first week of February, and it's March 2nd. So it's been just a little bit. It's been a little bit. But I'm here now. And the reason I didn't read it for so long was because I was like, I don't know, I think I was trying to save it or something. I didn't want it to be over. But now I'm here, and now I'm gonna read it in March when everyone has already read it. But here it is. It's beautiful, and I'm prepared to cry and throw up and just overall have a great time. So I'm on page 21, and Jesse's alive. When did he come back to life? Like, when did they resurrect him? When did they perform like the necromancy and stuff? I thought like she just left with Malcolm and like nothing happened yet. I thought it would happen in this book, but apparently it's happened in like the 2-year gap that this book took to come out, because he's already alive. And I guess like performing the spell has like kind of put Lucy in like a coma. I don't know what's happening, but something's wrong with her because of the necromancy that happened to bring Jess back to life. But he is alive. He's very much alive. And I'm really scared, because usually if a character comes back to life this early from necromancy, they're gonna die later. And I can't have that. That's just not acceptable here. So we'll have to see. Okay, so recap. Nothing has happened so far. I'm now on page 66, and I just wanted to update because Lucy and Jess are, having a great time. They're just talking, they're having a great time. Then the doorbell rings, and it is James, Magnus, and Will. And then it switches perspectives. Now I'm just imagining like James and Will's reaction to like Lucy alone in this like cabin thingy with this random kid that no one has seen in 17 years. I think that would be really interesting. Also, they mentioned like a Madame Dorothea. Someone please tell me if this is the same Dorothea from like The Mortal Instrument, like Clary's neighbor, the psychic lady who told fortunes. Like, is it the same Dorothea? I'm not gonna go check because that's just too much work. But like, is it? Someone please tell me. Matthew and Cordelia are now kissing, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I want it to stop. I want it to go away. I don't like it. Okay. So Christopher comes to like talk to Grace like in her prison thingy when she's in the Silent City, and they're talking, and I think if like they get together, you know, I think Grace can have a redemption arc if she doesn't hurt Christopher, because I feel like they'd be so good together, and I really want them to get together because they're so cute. I love Christopher. He's so cute with his little burning stuff down. He's like Henry, and I love Henry. So that's what's happening, and you know, he comes to visit her, and he's like the only one who's come to visit her. Like, nobody else has visited her, and he genuinely wants to be there to like talk to her and make her feel better. And I don't care if that's the bare minimum. I still want this for them. Oh my god. This is terrible. Oh my god, I would literally be like crying if this happened to me. Basically, Matthew and Cordelia are like making out, like hardcore making out, like, you know, and they go into Cordelia's room, and suddenly the lights turn on while they're making out. And since they're making out, they obviously did not turn in the lights. They turn to the side. Who's there? It's James. He's literally like sitting there in a chair waiting for them. And then he sees his best friend and his wife walk in making out. And then he like just ons the light. And now I'm scared. Now I'm really, really scared, and I don't like it. I don't like it here. I want to go away. I want to leave. But yeah, that's what's happening, and I'm just praying to God. Oh my god, I can't read this. This is like a Greek tragedy waiting to happen. It's so bad. Okay, so the last time I updated, James walks in on Matthew and Cordelia making out. And then I just stopped reading. Like, I just stopped reading for like 2 weeks. And now it's Saturday, March 11th. And I decided to restart it because I'm a little free. I don't have as much to do this weekend as I did. It's been like crazy recently, but now I'm somewhat free. Don't have as much to do as I did the last couple of weekends. So we're gonna read it now, and it's gonna be fun. You know, we're gonna make this fun. Yes, I'm gonna feel pain, but you know, maybe I'll have some laughs too. Maybe I will. Guys, I've just discovered Lana Del Rey, and she's literally my new hyperfixation. Like, I'm just listening to her on repeat. I think my favorite album right now of hers is Norman fucking Rockwell. I also like Born to Die, but currently I'm just listening to Norman fucking Rockwell like over and over and over again. I love Venice Bitch and the Mariner's Apartment Complex and Fuck It, I Love You and California. Those are like absolute perfection. Like, I cannot ask for anything else. They're just so good. And that's all I need in life. So I'm gonna listen to Norman fucking Rockwell while I read this book and potentially cry, hopefully. Alistair can speak Tamil? Like what? I'm kind of obsessed. That's so cool. I mean, I don't speak Tamil, my family isn't Tamil, but we are South Indian. But Alistair can speak Tamil, and that's crazy. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna read Chain of Thorns for real this time, not just like, you know, reading a page and then forgetting about it for like 2 weeks. We're actually gonna read it now. Like, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna read it. So, welcome to my journey of pain. I'm actually on page 308, which I think is pretty good. Like, I don't think that's bad. I'm almost like halfway done with it. So, I forgot to mention, I bought a record player. So, I'm probably gonna put on a record while I... Oof. Such a struggle. I have Evermore. So far, I have Evermore vinyls, Folklore, Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. I ordered Born to Die, and then I have AM by Arctic Monkeys. So those are the ones I have so far. But yeah, basically, I'm just gonna play this first. Now I can go read. Grace just asked Christopher to go like tell Cordelia what she did to James. Maybe she deserves some rights. Maybe just for progressing the plot of this book, she deserves some rights. I just started chapter 22, but I stopped because I got a package, and it's very, very pink. It's like alarmingly pink. I think it's promoting like The Marvelous Miss Maisel, because I think the new season's coming out, so it's promoting it, and that is why it is pink. But I'm gonna open it. Basically, recently I read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I read Caraval a while ago, and I read the first book, didn't like it, and then I read the second book and the third book because I heard so many things about Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I really wanted to read that book, so I wanted to finish Caraval, and it was just not my favorite thing. It was just very boring. I was so bored throughout. It wasn't bad. Nothing like inherently like bad about it. It was just, I was very, very bored. It was just not my book. And so the whole reason I read it was for Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then I ended up getting so burnt out from reading Caraval that I didn't end up reading Once Upon a Broken Heart until like a while after. And I did read it a couple months ago, and I can't stop thinking about it. I didn't like Jax in Caraval, but in this book, he's something else, and I can't get over it. Like, I've been thinking about this series for the past month. I read it a month ago. I just randomly started thinking about it again. But anyway, I have the second book. The first book hasn't come yet. But yeah, this is the US hardcover. I really, really liked the UK hardcovers. They were so pretty, but I couldn't find any. And the ones that I did find were like $200, and they were like being bidded on like eBay and stuff. And I'm like, it's okay, you know what, I'll stick with this one. Oh yeah, and if anyone is interested, I do have Spotify's for like most of the books that I read. I have one for Once Upon a Broken Heart. I have one for Daisy Jones and the Six. I have one for Chain of Thorns and like that series. So I'll link down my Spotify. I'll link my Spotify down below is what I meant to say. I actually have work that I need to do right now, but I'm making good progress on the book and I'm actually proud of myself. So we're gonna do work now though, because I just want to get it out of the way so I can read peacefully. Cordelia just found out about the bracelet and from Grace, and she goes to like their house and she calls James and she's like, you know, get over here. And then he goes, and then she tells him she loves him, and then she tells him that like Grace told her everything, and then he's like, oh, I didn't want you to know because I was scared you'd pity me or feel sorry for me. That's his excuse. Like 450 pages. I have read 450 pages, which is the average length of a regular book. I'm halfway through this book, and still, they just found out. Like, they just found out about each other's feelings. You're kidding me. Because James is like, oh, I didn't want her to pity me. That's why I waited 450 pages. Christopher is dead. Like, he's dead. He's not breathing. He's not alive. And I knew it. I knew someone had to die. I knew things were too happy. I knew everyone was just too happy. You know, everyone was just too comfortable in their life. He had to die. Someone had to die, and it's Christopher, which is so sad because he's such a baby. I'm unwell. I can't handle this. I mean, like, they're gonna bring him back, right? They have to bring him back. Like, they can't not bring him back. They brought everyone back. Why can't Christopher come back? Okay, so I'm at the part where James and Matthew are now stuck in hell, because why wouldn't you be? And basically, Matthew is like, you know, having seizures because he's also trying to like recover from his alcoholism. Alcoholism. So he's having like a seizure, and in hell, healing runes don't work, but James is like determined to make them work. So he just keeps drawing them one after the other, and they keep fading. And Matthew's like, you can't keep doing this all night. And James is like, watch me. And he's literally sitting there, and he's gonna draw like rune after rune after rune all night long. I need better friends. I need to raise my standards. I'm in the last 50 pages, and James has now stabbed himself. And as you've noticed, I'm in a very calm state because this is my new come what may attitude. It's okay, I'm gonna let live and let die. Because, yeah, I've moved past this. Because I know he's gonna come back. And if he doesn't, it's okay, because I'm gonna live and let live and die and let die. I have finished Chain of Thorns. I've actually finished my most anticipated book for 2 years, and it hasn't like sunk in that I finished it yet, but I finished it, and I still need to process that. But I'm just gonna do an outro right now because it is 4:34 in the morning. I am delusional, and I don't want to think about this tomorrow. So these are just my unfiltered thoughts that are just probably not going to have any correlation with each other, but I'm just going to tell you them. Unfortunately, overall, the book was 3 stars. It was not my favorite. I just feel like I'm so sad to say this. Like, I'm literally so sad to say this, but you know when you're watching a show and it's going on for really, really long, And then there comes this point when it's like renewing for like a sixth season, and you just know that it should stop because like it's just too prolonged, it's too expansive, it's too long, and you want it to stop. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting from the Shadowhunter world. I feel like it's just over. It was her first series, I think. I believe. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But it was Cassandra Clare's like first series. So, I feel like she needs to move on. And I hate that because I love the series. Like, this series is one of the series that got me into reading. It was Percy Jackson, Keeper Less Cities, and Shadowhunters. Like, Shadowhunters got me into like the YA genre. So it's really sad. Like, nobody wants to say this less than I want to say this. But I feel like she just needs to like move on because now it's just too expansive. It's too like before, when there were like 3 series or 2 series out, there was like, little Easter eggs and little things that were like interesting, and you had fun looking for these little correlations between the series. But at this point, it's just like everything is too connected and too intertwined that it's no longer fun. It's just very easy. Everything is just very easy in the series now. You just know how everything's going to turn out because she has this very mapped out plan for all of them. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel. Like, this series was like, the Infernal Devices in certain ways, and it was also like the Mortal Instruments, and it was also like the Dark Artifices. And so I feel like it's just done. I'm probably still gonna read the other books she releases just for like nostalgic reasons, but I feel like I was so disappointed because I loved the first 2 books. Like, I loved them. They were probably in my top 3 favorite series of all time. I love James and Cordelia, and I love their relationship, and I wanted them to be together so hard, so bad. And their build-up was so good, but then the execution of it in this book was just it felt very flat, and I was just very disappointed, and I didn't really care when they got together. I was like, oh, great, they're together, I just want to move on. And also, she mentioned that it was going to be very sad, and it was going to end kind of how Clockwork Prince ended, kind of like on a cliffhanger, kind of like uncertain or whatever. Oh wait, no, I think she just said that it was going to be very sad. It was going to be like sadder than the Infernal Devices. And so I was prepared for heartbreak. And I was a little heartbroken when Christopher died, but I feel like it was so forced because he didn't need to die. There was literally no reason for him to die except to make you feel something. Like, that's it. If he didn't die, I feel like the book would just be a happy book. Like, there would be no tension. There would be nothing inherently sad that happened. But for something sad to happen, she made him die. And I feel like she's been doing that a lot recently because that works for her, which is great. But then at the same time, it's like, it's so pointless that you don't care about it. Like, I'm still sad that Christopher died because, unpopular opinion, he is the best Mary thief. I'm still sad that he died, but like, again, I don't care that much because it's whatever. It wasn't like a catharsis or anything. Like, him dying, all of this happening, the climax wasn't like catharsis. It was just there. It was very flat. It just happened. You moved on. So, yeah. And also, it was very long. It was very long. I feel like that's my complaint for half the books I read. But it's 800 pages. And half of it doesn't need to be there. I know it doesn't. Like, I say this all the time, so it sounds like I say it for everything. But trust me, half of it did not need to be there. It just made it more boring. I think I would have liked it much more if it was shorter. But yeah, those are my complaints. So I'm really very, very sad. And I know it's going to catch up to me tomorrow that I finished the last book in probably my favorite series, actually, now that I think about it. And I didn't like it. But yeah, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I was contemplating for a while giving it 4. But then I reached this certain part of the book. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be 3 stars. It's just, I don't care. It was the part when James and Cordelia finally got together. And I was like, I don't care. And then that's when I knew it was going to be 3 stars. But anyway, guys, it is 4:40 a.m. and I am delusional and I'm tired and my eyes will not stay open. So I'm going to go now, and I hope you enjoyed. If you were looking for a very in-depth, extensive review, I'm sorry, look somewhere else. This is not that. It's very incoherent. I don't even know if half the clips I have are actually entertaining, because some of them are from so long back that I don't remember what was happening. But I guess we'll see. Anyway, that's it for today's vlog. See you guys in the next one. Bye. Okay, so it's a couple days later after I finished the book, and I feel like now I've gathered my thoughts and they're much more cohesive. So this is my actual in-depth review. So ignore the other part. First off with the plot, I gave the overall book 3 stars, which is really, really sad because the first 2 books were 5-star reads for me. But starting off with the plot. What plot? There was no plot. It was just, Cassandra Clare is not a very strong plot-driven writer. She writes based off her characters. She revolves the plot around her characters rather than her characters fitting into the plot. She kind of fits the plot around the characters. And I love that. I love not plot-driven books. I love character-driven books. I genuinely don't care about the plot. And that's pretty much self-explanatory in Infernal Devices and The Mortal Instruments. The plot is just very much background. If you asked me what the plot to Infernal Devices was, I couldn't really tell you. And for this book, I feel like she just completely gave up on any attempts to make a plot, and it was just, it made sense, but it had no motivations. The villains had no clear motivations. They had no reason for doing what they did. I feel like everything just happened in order for the characters to do what she wanted them to do. And it was too, it just worked out too much for them. So that's my complaint about the plot. I didn't like it, and I genuinely don't care most of the time, but this was just very, very shallow and very not thought out at all. Next, it's the writing. I don't know what to tell you about the writing. There's nothing like a good Cassandra Clare quote. I have so many, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but I have this entire closet that has quotes from books or shows or songs that I really like. And a lot of them are Cassandra Clare quotes, because some of her quotes are genuinely so beautiful. And this book had none. And it's not just the quotes that made me not like the writing. It was just so embarrassing to read. There were certain parts where I genuinely got secondhand embarrassment, and I just lost complete interest in a character's relationship because of the terms they'd use to call each other. They were just very embarrassing and they're really cringy, and I could not stand it. It was above, there's always this very thin line that Cassandra Clare treats on when she's writing romances, and it's this line between mature and nice and then cringy, and I love that line because it's the perfect mix. It needs to be a little cringy, but it's not super cringy, and I feel like this just towed the line too much and just went completely across, and I genuinely couldn't get through certain scenes because the characters were just so embarrassing. And the writing was just very immature. And it's not because it's YA. I love YA books. Most of the fantasies I read are YA. I think it's the superior fantasy genre. But it was just very, very immature, and I did not enjoy it at all. Next, my favorite part, the characters. I love all the characters in this book. I mean, in this series, but in this book, they just did not do it for me. They were just very boring. I feel like all of their like character developments were just like built up for the first 2 books and then just like cut off in this book, and they just didn't matter, and they were just like thrown on the back burner. Like all the relationships and all like the, you know, personal developments that she built up in the first 2 books, she built them up so well, and then they just came like crashing down in this book, and they didn't even come crashing down in like a purposeful way. I feel like she just gave up on them. For example, James and Cordelia's relationship, like a couple months ago, it was probably like my favorite relationship after Kaz and Nej from Six of Crows. Like, I wanted them to be together so bad. But in this book, I did not care. I was happy when they got together, but it wasn't like I was satisfied or I was like relieved, and I didn't get like that, oh my god, they're finally together. I was just like, oh, okay, they're together. When is this book gonna end? Like, it was just, I'm so disappointed. I hate this. I hate that I'm giving it 3 stars, but I have to. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, it might have been lower if I didn't like already care so much about the characters, and if I didn't already really like her books. But yeah, it was just very sad. And also, Christopher's death, completely unnecessary. Served nothing, gave nothing to the plot, and I was promised like sadness, and it didn't serve. It was very sad. It was more sad that it didn't, you know, make me sad. It was like, because Sandra Clare usually, her books are very, very sad. Like, the ending always has this like very melancholic feel. There's always like something that's like unresolved, but it's unresolved in such like a methodical way that like you're not upset that it's unresolved. You're just very sad for like surrounding the circumstances of whatever that issue was, and that just wasn't in this book. For example, like in The Infernal Devices, the whole like Jem being a silent brother thing, it wasn't exactly unresolved, but it was something that was like kind of left open, and it just wasn't in this book. It just wrapped up too nicely, and it just all came like crashing down to this one single perfect moment, and I did not like that because Christopher's death was unnecessary. He didn't have to die. And also, third, Matthew. Matthew had so much potential. He could have had like so much more going on, but he didn't, because his entire purpose in this book was served being like part of the love triangle. The love triangle that she forced into the book that did not have to be there, because it was like some sort of mimic of The Infernal Devices or something, and it just didn't work out that way, and I didn't feel for it as much as I felt for The Infernal Devices, because from the very beginning it was very clear who she was going to end up with. There was no like mystery or anything. I wasn't angsty about who she's going to end up with. I was just angsty like, oh, how is she going to end up with James? Because it was very obvious that she was going to end up with James, and I'm pretty sure that was purposeful, but Matthew served no purpose except that, and I'm very sad because I love Matthew, and I think the things he deals with are very important. And again, she just, you know, gave it a very abrupt stop, because it was just like, oh, he's dealing with alcoholism, and that's it. That's his entire thing. He just stops drinking, and he's fine now. He doesn't really have anything else to give to the story, and I hated that.